Hey everybody, another video here with Jeremy today. Hope everybody's doing good. Got a little bit of a good video today. I mean, I think they're all good. I try to make some good videos where they're informal to people. That's something's been weighing on my mind a lot today. Well, a lot of things are every day. But I'm sitting here going through our Constitution, our amendment, our rights, civil rights, And one thing really stuck out at me, and it's the 14th Amendment. Now, I'm going to read it word for word from you guys, and I want you to understand where it comes in play with courts, family courts, things like that, domestic relations, child support office stuff. So it's pretty basic, but I want to go over it. Section 1 of the 14th Amendment. All persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state within where they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. So that section right there is a very powerful section, and that's section 1 of the 14th Amendment, as I just said. We are all entitled to equal protection of the laws, and the state shall not deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process. What is due process? Due process is, we're going to use my situation example. Due process is when my ex filed a false story to get my children taken from me, and then there was no hearing for me to prove myself innocent or her claim false, or to even fight it. That is called a denial of due process, which is a basic civil right that we have. And there's no other way to put it. I was never afforded an evidentiary hearing after my ex had been granted this emergency custody order. So when you are a court or a judge and you are not following the basic civil rights that we all have, there's a serious problem here. And that is a big reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Number one is because of my children, because of my sons. I love them and I will never stop fighting. And I'm not going to let this court do this. They will be held accountable. It might not be tomorrow or next month, but it's coming. And I think you guys, people everywhere across this country, have about had enough of corruption in our courthouses. We need to take them back. Now, I'm not saying every court is corrupt. I am specifically talking about family courts, CYS, adoptions, and taking kids off of other parents because one parent made up a false claim, like in my story. Again, due process is a big one, guys. That is the right to be heard. You have to, it's like if Johnny threw a rock at your sister and then your dad wanted to go beat Johnny's ass. Well, he didn't ask Johnny, did you throw the rock? Was it an accident? Did somebody else throw it? And you just beat his ass. That's kind of what happens when you don't get your rights to due process. You don't have a chance to rebut what somebody has said against you. That you don't have your chance to tell your side of the story or the truth. There's always two sides of the story, everybody. And one of them we always know is BS. The other one is actually mostly true, but diluted or over-exaggerated. And then there's just facts. Then, but nowadays you have to have a video with audio recording, and you have to record your whole life, or else it's going to be put under scrutiny, and you have to fight for your life like I'm doing for my children. It's a disgusting world that we live in nowadays, that our courts, where we are supposed to go for remedies for things that we cannot handle ourselves, are taking their own liberties to do things to us as citizens and denying us our basic civil rights, such as due process. So I hope this pisses a lot of people off, and it should. We have to do something about it. We have to make it stop. And it starts here, and it starts now. In my case, it started with me. I decided I'm not going to stand down. I'm not going to lay down and let these people do this. I am going to take a stand. And whether I get beat up on the way to the top, I will. I don't care. There is no backing down. When you start something like this, you see it through to the end. And that's the warrior mentality that you must have. And I'm no special person, but I can tell you, I have never been one to give up on anything, especially when it's your own blood. The egregious acts that these courts are doing is just absolutely disgusting. And the people that work in these courts that know this is happening and do nothing about it, you're just as bad. It doesn't matter if you're not a judge, but if you know a judge is doing something illegal or has done something to violate people's rights and you just sit there and you're complicit with it all, you're just as bad as they are. You are. And this has to become a movement, guys. This can't just be me versus a whole court. I mean, it's going to be either way. But the more people that jump in on this train and see how many of these police departments, courts, judges, lawyers, they're all violating our rights, we need to do something. Now, I'm not some guy that's an anti-cop, and I think everybody knows that, and well, a lot of people do. I'm not anti-anything. I'm anti-corruption. I'm anti, let's take people's kids off them because we can make money off of them. You know, that's what I don't like, and that's what I'm aiming to stop here. There's a lot of people that are out there doing that stuff nowadays, fighting back and everything. But you guys need to get a copy of this. It might not look like this. It could look like this. They look different, but as long as it says the Constitution of the United States, there you have it. And you need to learn these roles, and I'm sorry, not roles. You need to learn these rights, and you have to study them, what they actually mean and what they entail, because they were written back in a time where speaking was direct and people understood what they were saying back then. Today's a little different. It's like Neanderthal writing compared to what we're used to nowadays. You don't understand the terminology of certain words. So you have to go in there and you have to look at it, and you have to be practical and a realist and understand what these all actually mean. And there's a lot of really good stuff in here. Man, you know, a lot of people know the First Amendment, which is free speech. The Second Amendment is, you know, your right to bear arms, and Fifth Amendment is not to say nothing if you get yourself in trouble, and so on and so forth. But there's a lot of amendments, and there's a lot of the ones that people leave out. There's a lot of things in each one of these that are very important. And guys, if we don't use our rights, we lose them. Then remember that. Rights are like muscles. If you don't use them, you lose them. And that's a fact. So that's all with the Constitution and our civil rights speech for today, I guess. But I want to touch on something else. As I told you guys in another video, I had a de novo hearing for the child support order that I didn't think was right. I had filed a conference to terminate it, actually, because there was a lot of violations on my case and a lot of things done wrong by the Domestic Relations Office and the former judge that was on my case. You can't just let people do stuff like that. You have to hold them accountable. And I had a judge that her husband represented me in my child support case, in my custody case, and you know, when you get divorced and all that. And you can't do that. It's a conflict of interest, and it's a big problem. So when you have documented evidence of stuff like that, you have to go after it. You can't let it be. Because if that was you doing something you shouldn't be doing or illegal, believe me, they would let you know about it and you would pay for it. So there's a bunch of other things. So anyhow, the de novo hearing I went to, I drove an hour and a half away to get there. And I get there, and the hearing officer says, basically, we're recording this, but we're not going to do nothing today because you filed an appeal to Superior Court, which I did. I filed an appeal because there was a motion I filed to terminate and vacate the child support order due to lack of subject matter jurisdiction. because there's so many problems in my case. There's no proof of service of the original complaint on the Pacey's record or the official court case history transcript record. If it's not on there, it didn't happen. And that's literally what they say. It's a phrase that everybody in the court, a clerk or pathonetist knows. If you don't file the certificate of service or proof of service, then it did not happen, and it can be attacked for lack of jurisdiction later, or whenever somebody catches on to it, which I did. So anyhow, the judge denied my order to terminate and vacate the order. He would not accept any of my evidence. He said the evidence that I have turned in before he looked at, but I had discovered new evidence since I got all my records from the court and child support office. I found a lot of things, and I had made 3 binders, full exhibit binder, one for me, one for the judge, and one for the opposing counsel. And that's how you're always supposed to do it. Always do in 3s unless you have more defendants or opposing counsel. But he would not accept that. And actually, sitting here with me tonight, this here is the official transcript from that hearing. And I would just want to read you guys something real quick here, because this is important. We have to not let this happen anymore. We have to stop this. So I wanted to file my evidence on the record into the court. And, sometimes you are usually supposed to file, when you file a motion for something, you file your evidence or exhibits with it. But in my case, I filed the motion and exhibits that I've had, and then I discovered more before the hearing came, so that's what I made the exhibit packets for. And the court would not accept it. And even in this court transcript here, I'm going to say right here, here's where it starts with me. Well, this is just an excerpt out of it. We're on like a couple pages towards the end. I disagree with this court when I brought up a lot of valid reasons and legal things, and nobody will take my evidence that I got here. This is clear evidence. Yes, I do have a lawsuit against them, meaning domestic relations. I don't know why this is flying. I brought clear evidence here, but there's a lot of violations. The court interrupted me, says, this is not. You constantly come back and say you have clear evidence, which I've looked at. And that's what the judge said. I replied, I put it all together really good for everybody here today. That's why I made these binders, made it in the right order. You have to put it in binder tabs, exhibit A, B, C, and make it nice, neat, and presentable, and which I did. Then the judge says, okay, so present what it is that you say is clear evidence. And I replied, I tried to, Your Honor. I brought up the points, and the opposing counsel is going to argue it. So yes, I do have a lawsuit in the state, but the absence of proof of service, if it's not on the docket of being served, it didn't happen. If I served somebody and didn't go up to the pathonetary's office and file a proof of service into the record, later on, the person that I'm suing or serving could simply say, I don't have it. It's not on there. So, and they can dismiss your case really quick. So in my case, I have the papers, I have the Pacey's transcripts, and I have the court records, the case history records. It's not in there. The proof of service for the original child support complaint is not in any official court or Pacey's documents. And it has to be. By law, it must be there. And then let's see here. What else did I say? I evaluated all the documents. I just printed them out. I have it all right here. There's A through I exhibits. And it ain't a bunch of BS. It's real. It's the law. This is not about anything else other than the truth. If I did wrong, the court would come after me and have to prove it. And that's what I'm trying to do here against them. They did something wrong. They did a bunch of things wrong. I'm trying to prove it, and I ain't getting nowhere here. So I don't know what else to do when the court will not accept any evidence that I have? And the judge finally replied and says, "This is just motions court, sir. No, I know you presented a motion. You could have included that in your motion, which I do have. I mean, what we have here is a motion to vacate. There was an Exhibit A, there was an Exhibit B, comparison of 4D versus Westmoreland County Domestic Relations Complaint for Support, Exhibit C." And then I said, "Right, and those things were added after because I went and got my records from domestic relations. I did not have those things to turn into you when I filed the motion. That's why I made these evidence binders. So everybody would have a copy of what I found and how I put it together. But there's just so many things that actually attack jurisdiction of my case. And it's all right here in these binders. The orders with Judge Benoni and her husband representing me, that's a conflict of interest." And then I got interrupted by the judge. He says, "That has nothing to do with jurisdiction. If you think that there's a conflict of interest, that's a separate matter." Well, that does attack jurisdiction because the orders are signed by somebody that has a conflict of interest that shouldn't be signing orders on my case. So you're wrong. And it could be a separate matter. But I'm bringing it up to you. You're a judge. You have the right. You have the duty to uphold the law and my rights and everybody's rights. But you didn't. And I just said, that's just one thing I found after I brought up the judge's lawyer husband representing me. The court says, "But it has no bearing on jurisdiction again." So I replied, "Okay, so I'm lost here. I'm lost at where the absence of proof of service, support order, complaint withdrawn, and dismissed on the records. Why is it all going on if it's been withdrawn and dismissed?" So as I told you guys before, there's on a child support official docket called Pacey's, there's an entry in there that says final order, complaint withdrawn, dismissed, and that means the child support complaint. 3 months after it opened in 2016. That's what I was referencing, and I brought all that up, and I had all of those documented proof of evidences in this binder to turn in, and they would not accept it. So, you know, that kind of stuff there, when a court and a judge will not accept your evidence into, so you can prove your case and prove that the case on you, your child support case or whatever it may be, is defaulted. There's a lot of errors. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of violations in it. That's a problem. You can't deny somebody the liberty, the right to defend and speak for themselves. You denied due process, and that's why I filed the appeal. A court cannot deny somebody evidence to turn evidence, and you can't. There are different hearings and things you have to produce your evidence beforehand and stuff like that, but not for a motions hearing. When I find something wrong, that's my only option and remedy at the time is to start off at the family court judge level and turn in my complaint, what my problems are. Hey, I want this child support vacated, this order vacated, because there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K exhibits, and it's all facts and proof from your own records that are violations, violating my rights, violating the laws and the rules and the child support guidelines and all the other shit. So that's why I filed an appeal to the Superior Court, which is a court that's up higher than regular domestic relations, family court, county court, stuff like that. They don't play those games there. They're not biased. Nobody there has a vested interest in either me or that family court or the judge or Westmoreland County domestic relations. They're not getting nothing off it. They don't benefit out of nothing. So when I take it to the family court judge, of course, what do you think's going to happen? I have all this proof to show that my case is debunked and it's all effed up and there's a lot of problems in it. What do you think? It's why he didn't do nothing. So basically what it is, the state is suing me. They're coming after me for child support. Even though my ex filed for it, she signed documents for Title 4D, which now the child support office can automatically come after you without her coming up to court. So therefore, the state is attacking me. And what option do I have? But when I find a problem or need help with something, I have to go to the same place that is suing and attacking me and ask them for help. And you think they're going to help me? No, they're not. And I knew that. But this isn't just because I'm some dumb guy that just keeps going back up there because I'm mad that I got to pay child support. That's not the case at all. This is called building a case. This is showing that this is a systemic problem that has been going on for nearly 2 years. I document everything that goes on. I document who I talk to, what time I talked to them, what was talked about. They think I'm just some moron, and they think most people up there are morons, and that's how it is. They don't see a face. They don't see a human. They see a big fat dollar sign. That's what they see. Prove me wrong. That's all I got to say about that. Prove me wrong. So anyhow, that's why we got a Superior Court appeal going. They accepted it, and that's pretty good. And the really big thing is, I really didn't want to say it, but it's going to come out anyhow. The SSDI from Social Security that my kids get from me adds up to be about $420 a month. And they've been getting that since 2009 and 2010. But in 2016, when I got divorced and she filed for child support, they were supposed to be counting that as her income, which there's two parts to this. There's part A and part B. When the kids get a check because of me, they are supposed to count that as their mother's income towards the household income. In part B, they are supposed to they're supposed to add that towards my monthly obligation for child support. So they have me paying $1,200 to $1,500 a month. It kind of fluctuated, throughout the years, and it's way high. That is really high. It's called inflated. But the big thing is they never counted the derivative checks that my kids got and still get to this day. So we're talking $420 times 12 months for 1 year. And then you take 12 months times 10 years. We're talking a significant amount of money that they are going to have to retroactively put back in there. And more than likely, they're going to have to owe me and pay me back a huge overpayment check. So there is no way out of that. There's no way out of anything else I have. They may have found a way out of it from their family court judge there that protects them. That's what I like to call the gate guard at domestic relations. That family court judge, whoever it may be in your case, that is the gate guard. You have to go past the gate guard every time you go up there. And when you do go up there to catch them on something they've done wrong, well, guess what? The gate guard don't care. They shut the door on you. End the story, and they live life, and you're suffering. And it's not fair to anybody. If you have kids and you have an obligation to pay for them, absolutely. I think these courts are I know they're being misused. There's contracts between the Domestic Relations Child Support Office and the Westmoreland County Sheriff's Office. There's I have them here. If you guys want them, just let me know. I'll feel free. I'll send them to you. They're cooperative agreements between the state and the government. Every time they get somebody that pays child support to pay, or force them to pay, or bring actions against them, and that parent pays, they get federal incentives. You don't even want to know how much money these incentives got these people in this year so far. It is insane. I think it's like $330 million. And it's not exact, but it is an astronomical amount. So, of course, somebody like me calling out problems in a child support office, believe me when I tell you, it's going to take really doing your homework, who you know, how you do your lawsuit, how you go after these people. You have to really know what you're doing. You have to have fortitude. You have to have time and patience and energy and the will not to just give up and say, I can't do it, or it ain't worth it. It's insane. They literally have contracts where, the sheriff's office gets paid through the domestic relations Title 4D program that they have with the state and the federal government. It's disgusting. It's a whole big racket. They're all there to protect each other. Nobody has your best interest, or as they say, the children's best interest. They don't. They do not. If they did, both of my sons would be sitting right here and one right here, because that's what they do when they were with me. They were right next to me all the time, no matter what time of the day it was or what we did, because that's the relationship we had. That's the relationship you broke, they broke, and I'm not going to let you get away with it. Period. I don't care if it takes 2 years. I don't care if it takes 2 months, 6 months, 5 years. I don't really care how long it takes. I'll keep going at this, because you know what? Every time I got to file a motion, and I do file motions or want a hearing, I'm making the other team's party work, and they're spending a lot of money. And you know what? When I'm done with these people through the Superior Court and in the federal court, that's good. They're gonna wish they never came across me. They should go back to when I filed to terminate my child support case. When I first found that out, they should have just said, we should have just got that guy what he wanted back then, what he should have had, because it's the law and we violated. We should have just gave it to him then. We should have just let him go. But you didn't. So consequences, actions have consequences. Everybody's does. So get ready for that stuff. I'm excited for this, man. I'm to the point where I'm actually excited to go to federal court. I can't wait till it kicks off. I can't wait till I have my state lawsuit against domestic relations kick off. I can't wait till I have that oral argument that the other team wants, because they think they have immunities from being sued and prosecuted. You don't. When you violate somebody's rights and laws, certain ones, you don't have immunity. You're not federal employees. You're not protected. Just because you have a contract with a 4D federal government Social Security Act does not make you a federal employee and protected under those federal rights, federal protections they have. Ask me how I know. I worked for the government for a long time. But it's funny, these people just don't get it. But they're going to. Everybody's going to get it. I mean, the amount of stuff that these people do, guys. You guys need to get all your stuff, all your paperwork, whatever it is, your divorce, child support. Get all your documents. File right to know request. Get all your documents. Start looking through them. Start reading up on laws. Start reading up on your rights is number one. And find out all the shit that they do, because when you start digging, it'll start really pissing you off what you find. But yeah, these courts really need a slacking, and I plan on giving it to them. There's a lot of other guys, men and women, that are pushing right now to reform the custody issue and try to push. They're going to push the 50-50, the mandatory 50-50 custody act. I don't know what it's called or whatever yet, but that's actually in the works. They're also working on legislation to revamp the Title 4D program, which should be abolished completely. That was made for back in World War II, whenever the men went off to war and the women were home with the children and couldn't go to work because they had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids back then, and they couldn't work. It was pretty much a grant that was given to them. So what they did was they kept that, added a few little changes in there and tweaks, and now it's not a grant. It is. They're getting the money for it twice. They're double and triple dipping, the state and government. So it's not about paying for the kids or the best interest of the kids when it boils down to it. It's all about dollar signs and money. There is a regular support from a complaint for support, where a man or woman goes up to the judge in the court and files there, and they don't want the Title 4D program. They don't want nothing to do with it. They just want the mother or the father to contribute some, and that's how they do it. They can't come after you, suspend your license, threaten you with jail, levy shit, garnish things off, garnish your checks and all that. there are two different types of child support. Title 4D is not the only thing out there. That's another thing. The attorney for Westmoreland County said there is no other kind of child support case. There is only 4D. She's wrong, and wrong again, and I'll prove that. It's frustrating, but it's fun and exciting at the same time, because in my mind, every day that passes, I get older. My children get older. I get smarter. I get wiser. And I become more furious. But that fury makes me, it gives me drive. It gives me hope. I use it in a good way. And that's why I'll win this thing. I'll get my kids back. I have to. That's just how it has to be. So I have to do my job the right thing. I have to do my job the best I can. I'm not a lawyer. Don't want to pretend to be one, but I'm in that gray area where I can't afford a lawyer, but I make too much for a pro bono attorney, and the people that I'm suing in my federal lawsuit, nobody wants to touch it. Even if I did pay them buku bucks, nobody wants it. Same thing with the state lawsuit. Nobody would take it. They all work together. So, just got to bust your ass and do what you got to do. And I think that's about all I got today. I just figured I'd keep up appearances here, make a good video, try to be informative about what's going on with it. But we got some big things happening here. It looks like they're going to be owing me a lot of money really soon, due to their own intentional mistakes, I guess we could call it. But it's systemic fraud. They do it to everybody up there. If you don't catch it, if you don't know what to look for, you'll pay support for 18 years and they'll get away with it. But little they know I have a daughter. Well, they know that I have a daughter, but little do they know that I also found out that my daughter got that same check and I paid for her for 18 years. So guess who's going to be going back to get all that money back too? This guy. So I got my work cut out for me, guys. Wish me luck. See you on the next video. If you got any suggestions for what you want me to talk about, feel free to shoot me some emails, text, comment on here. Let me know what it is you want to hear about. I will only put out facts. I will research things if I don't know them, and I'll be able to put out whatever you guys want to know. So I would like to do a live video here this week sometime. So I would like to talk about that before I turn it off here for tonight. But we're looking at like maybe Wednesday or Thursday to give me some time and to give you guys some time to reply to this. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to do a Q&A kind of thing. I want to hear your thoughts, your input. Try to leave the negative shit around. I don't need it. You know what I mean? If you're just going to say something smart like, well, every man should be taking care of his kid. That's not what this is, and I don't want to hear it. Just keep your smart-ass comments to yourself. Nobody really cares about it. But if you have something in constructive criticism, I'm all ears, open to hear that. If you got legit questions, you just want to know some things about my case or want to know something about anything having to do with this kind of stuff, just ask, and I'll make a video on it. I would love to help people out. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I can't give legal advice, but if you ask me questions, I do research, I can give the answers. That's how it works, and I'll tell you what I've done is all I can do. I cannot represent you. I wish I could. There's a lot of people come to me, and I really wish I could help them all and represent everybody. But I'm not that great, so I'm better than the average person, I guess, when it comes to this, but I'm not a seasoned lawyer, and I don't pretend to be. Well, that's it. You guys want to know some stuff, you want to ask some questions, feel free. Don't be shy. It's okay. I won't bite. Nobody's going to catch you if you talk to me and put you on a list. Not that I know of anyway. But it's fun being on a list. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.